And now Signature Sports. Some years ago, it would have been criminal to suggest that Nigeria would struggle to qualify for the 2026 World Cup in a group comprising South Africa, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, Benin Republic, and Lesotho, considering its avalanche of talent. However, the reality is that the Super Eagles are struggling in a group where they would have dictated the pace. Nigeria is fourth in the log behind South Africa, Rwanda, and Benin, with just 7 points out, a possible 18 points after 6 matches. More disturbing is the fact that the team has lost its style of play and consequently its identity. The Nigerian Super Eagles that were known for their fast-paced, attacking style of football, characterized by skillful dribbling, quick transitions, and a focus on counter-attacking, are today adopting a kick-and-follow style of play. Nigeria's men's senior football team is known to prioritize scoring goals and often played with a high-energy, attacking approach. But today, the Super Eagles are just not very good anymore, and that boils down to having zero footballing identity. And to join us in that discussion of recovery of the identity of Nigerian football is the technical advisor, Dream Achievers Football Club, Enugu, Dwayne Onyekachukwu. Good evening, Onyekachukwu. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening, madam. I'm happy to be here.
All right, straight on. I don't know which to take off first, but we will do it invariably. Can you give us a brief overview of the historical significance of football in Nigeria? How does an average Nigerian regard football? What has football as a sport done to Nigeria and Nigerians?
When we talk about football in Nigeria, football has been the bane of our existence. Not just merely for the youth, not just for the young adult. It's for everybody, the young, the old, the fathers, the mothers. Everybody enjoys football. In fact, it's what forms some sort of a bond and unity in this country. Because some time immemorial, there has been, how do I put it? Various tribes that come together to form, the national team, from the under 17 to the under 23 and to the Super Eagles. So it's been something that has been something that has been a form of unity or unifies the nation. So it can never be overemphasized, the importance of what it is to the average Nigerian.
Growing up, some of us heard great names like Rufai. We heard about J.J. Okochas, the Kanu Nwankwos, Rashidi Yekinis, great names that made Nigeria proud. And we have won cups, we have won laurels. It is not a recent thing. But these days, that cannot be said about Nigeria. We are on and off like a switch-controlled light bulb. And so the question really is, how did we get to this point? What went wrong with football in Nigeria?
Well, if you'd ask me, growing up, or rather, not that I met many of the players playing, but I had to watch them, and being a football scholar, you have to watch the records of the people before and even the present. So I would say that a lot what has hindered the level of our play and or what we grew up to enjoy, or what we saw back in the day with that Super Eagles then, the likes of the JJ, the Peter Rufai, the Mutiu Adepo Jews, the Emmanuel Amuneke, and many others. So I would say that First of all, the over dependent in foreign coaches has always been a thorn in our flesh because we don't even develop our local or homegrown coaches to be able to take up the mantle. And thereby, there's always this new philosophy every time a new coach is appointed. And you see, yes, in as much as they are, the players are professional, they can adapt. But too much adaptation, I believe, sometimes breeds no results. Because if you have a style of play or if you have a distinct philosophy with your style of play, just like the Spaniards or the Spanish are known for their football possession, the Germans are known for their efficiency and discipline, and the Brazilians for their flair. So you see all these people that have their philosophy, but due to our changing of coaches from time to time, you see that that narrative has
Then I
affected
need
us
to
so
get
much.
something clear. Is it the frequent changing of coaches or the fact that we use foreign coaches? What really is your point here?
My point, those two are my main point. The frequent changing of coaches and the foreign coaches. Because a foreign coach is just here to make his money, if you ask me.
Okay, have we
Because
recorded
not
successes with, we have tried out local coaches, by local I mean Nigerian coaches and technical
yeah,
advisors. Have we achieved results with them in the past? Some that you know of?
of course. Of course. Somebody like the Stephen Casey of the blessed memory. He was the one that gave us AFCON. What's the year then? So he's a very good in fact, he instilled discipline in that team. I was privileged to watch that to watch those games, and I saw what he did with the boys. And the boys were playing. The Nigerians, as at the time, were enjoying our football again. So he did a marvelous job. He did a marvelous job. Even the Iguavon, you understand? If he had been given a chance, I believe he would have done something for us. But I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's the politics in the glass house or if it's the interference of some individuals that um possess the power to make decisions. I don't know. But if we can have confidence in our homegrown coaches, because they bleed the Nigerian blood. They know what the Nigerians want. They know how and what needs to be done, irrespective of the fact that we emulate the whites, but we know what needs to be done because they are homegrown. They are Nigerians. They are not foreigners. The glory is here. The glory will forever remain here. But the white man will just say, okay, let me be doing this. Yes, he might be doing what he knows, or rather to the level that he knows to do, but he will not have the heart or the push of a Nigerian if he has the mantle. So that's my point of view.
All right, we've talked about the coaches, and I don't know if that was what you were talking about when you mentioned political interference and all of those, but I hope that was what we were talking about. Were that the only issues that has grounded football in Nigeria? I hope you got that, Dwayne.
Um, yeah, well, I would also say that our inability to not initiate, because while growing up, sorry for dissecting, while growing up, I was introduced to school games, academy. and um, 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 community tournament. Those places you can find raw talent, but it's no more the same. It's no longer the same right now. And yes, many, or some at the moment are trying to bring back those structures, but it's not as it were while we were growing up. So thereby, we depend on the ones we watch on the television. If we have a tournament, we will invite foreign players. We won't even incorporate them with the homegrown players as well, that are hungry for success. So it's not good for us. It's not good for us, to say the least.
All right, there's a point you mentioned, that's academy. Do we really have, well, privately owned academies, football academies in Nigeria? Do we have?
Yes, of course, of course. There are many of them right now. There are many of them. Like, I give kudos to the CEOs and the proprietors that initiate these things, or that set up the academy. Right here, because right here in Enugu, where we are, we have the Adoration Football Club, we have the Purple Crowns, we have the River Lanes, we have so many of them. So I believe with time we will make good again in football, and everybody will be happy.
Okay, what about school games? What happened to school games? You alluded to it when you were in your initial analysis. What about school games?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. You rarely hear about school games right now. But back in the days, when you talk about the Governor's Cup, when you talk about the Shell Cup, when you talk about, I can't remember their names again, but to name but a few, it was massive back in the day. And when you engage in those tournaments, or when you go to these tourneys, you will see athleticism, you will see raw talent, you will see people that, if given the chance and if given the proper training, if given the proper platform and structure, there will be the next JJ, the next Mikel Obi, the next Tijani Babangida, the next Sondo Lise, the next Daniel Amokachi, the next Finidi George, the next even the Ike Shoromus and the Peter Rufai. So the attorneys are no more there. I don't know what happened. I don't know if we only focus on the academics right now, but because I know while we were in school, we were told all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So it has to be incorporated in school. School games is very important in a child's development.
Now, let's return to the administration of football in Nigeria. We have the NFF. The appointments are made by the federal government. I don't know if that is the way it should be, if it is the way it is elsewhere, that the politicians appoint people to, administer sports in other countries. So I need you to also look at some governance, some policies that affect football in Nigeria, if there are any such.
Okay. Policies that affect football. Okay.
Okay, maybe those policies were meant to lead us on to victory. They were well thought out policies, but maybe implementation went wrong, or I don't know, or if there are government interferences, and it's becoming a clog in the wheel of progress of Nigerian football?
Well, I wouldn't say the policies were made to help us, because if a policy was made to help us and it's not helping us, why not scrap it? You understand? I believe that it's not about policies, but about the appointment of individuals. And um, how do I put this? The individuals want, and then what the general public wants. You understand? Because I have been privileged to go for uh, um, not a scouting program, but all these under 17s and under 20s, and you see people bringing in their awards and going as far as, paying a large sums of money so that their boys or their awards are featured. But when you look
Okay,
at
so
their board
Nigerian factor
and the
comes
one,
into play here too.
verily, 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 it comes into play. Yes.
Okay, when I was
You see,
talking
because
about appointments and political interference, I recall that before now, the Ministry of Youth and that of Sports are just two-in-one ministry up until this time. But there's also issues about a man older than 45, for instance, being made minister in charge of young people who are in their 20s and even less. I don't know if that has an impact on sports in Nigeria, if it has a negative impact or otherwise on sports in Nigeria.
well, it's not, I don't think having an old man running the affairs is very wrong or affects. It can only affect if he has nothing to offer. Because if he has something to offer more than a younger person, why would you bring a younger person? Because are you employing or are you appointing him to because he is young when he has nothing to offer? I believe the both of them should be incorporated if they both have something to offer. Because it's not about who sits there, it's about who can steer us in the right direction, who can take us to the next level, who can take us to that place, to that championship level that we were before in the 90s when we won the Olympic gold, the 1994 AFCON, and even went as far as the quarterfinals in the 1998 World Cup. So it's not about who sits there, it's about who has something to offer, whether they are young or old. It all depends on who has something to offer. That's my take. It's not about whether they are 50 or 60 or 17 or 25. It's about who has something to offer.
I want to believe that it's only young people that play football. And so I want to know how important it
Of
is
course.
for youth development in fact, how football supports youth development, if it does.
You, football is, should I say, the bane of the existence of the youth, especially the male gender. Because 80 or 90% of the youth, not just Nigeria, the world over, plays football. They derive joy in it, even if they don't want to make a career out of it. Football, football is football has been a lifesaver for so many youths. Without football, many young people out there would have ended up in prison, would have ended up dead or something close to that. But the joy of football, of playing football, even watching it, plays a significant role in youth development. Very, very significant role in youth development.
The decades, do you think that sports and football in particular has contributed in the national identity of Nigeria?
Yes. I don't think without football, Nigeria would be called the giant of Africa. That's my opinion. Somebody else may beg to differ or might beg to differ. Because way back, when you talk about the Super Eagles, there's this glory behind it. There's this finesse, there's this greatness that when you mention the Super Eagles of Nigeria, it brings chills upon everybody that hears it. The Super Eagles or rather the Super Eagles of the past has always been and will always be the reason, or one of the many reasons why Nigeria is the giant of Africa, or was the giant of Africa, because right now we are
all
not.
right, as we conclude, I don't know if it is still important, if it is still workable, and how we can actually reclaim the identity of Nigeria through football, or reclaim the identity of Nigerian football, rather.
Well, there are a lot of things we need to do, or a lot of, or should I say, everybody has to put all hands on deck. Every hand has to be on deck. First of all, we develop homegrown coaches, and define a natural and national playing philosophy that we were known for back in the day. Because when you talk about Nigerian players, or rather the Super Eagles, or even the Flying Eagles, the Golden Eaglets, when you watch them now and you watch those in the past, you will see there's a huge gap and a huge difference between them. And also, we have to revamp grassroots football, like the academies, the school tournaments, and whatnot. So these are all the levels of steps we need to take for us to be able to get to where we want and where we enjoy our football.
And I think if we're able to achieve these, we can actually recover the identity of Nigerian football.
100%, 100%, 100%.
All right,
no doubt about that.
Thank you very much, Dwayne Onyekachukwu, for joining us on Signature Sports this evening.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.